Hello, so this is going to be a tutorial directly connected to the previous one that goes through adding a new ship file specifically. We're not actually going to make a new ship. We're going to just create a copy of the Hugaran mothership that's actually connected to our new faction and is able to build. And that way you can just start adding new ships and adjusting your build list and continue that way. Um, Alright, so step one is we're gonna go to the source and get the ship file for what is the most similar to the ship you're adding. In my case right now, we're gonna get the mothership. If you want the incarnate, by the way, it's named Titan as a file. You want the PvP version. It says underscore PvP. So we also need to copy this structure here. So tunables, close that. Tunables, ships. Alright, so clear your search. Your search will maintain across all the folders. Alright, so now rename the faction part. And of course, if you're making a new ship, you just name it whatever you want. I'd recommend trying to sort of copy the way the manila files work when it comes to these headers, like I say. This just helps for identifying the different data types. So now, much like we did previously, we need to copy this new name, into the source ships like that. Alright, so after saving the mothership's faction, we're going to want to go to our starting fleet here, and then we're going to change this to our new one. So, and remember the one in the game. Save. And now we'll have a separate ship file from the vanilla ones. So in here, you can kind of get an idea of what you're going to need to create to fully separate your ships from it. Some of these are not that big of a deal to change. Like if you don't need to, the button mapping table, it doesn't matter which faction it belongs to unless you want to add your own buttons and stuff into here. But making your own stats now, that will matter for these data tables here. So for health and damage tuning, for example, this one uses F01, but we don't really want to change the Hagaran ones. So we're going to have to make our own versions of these data tables. So there's about, I think it's 5 of them. These data tables are located under the units folder in the source, and we'll have a bunch of them here. So you got, for F1, we'll just use the F1 for reference. So you got engine tuning, fabrication tuning, damage and health, endlets, and range tuning. So we're going to need all of them. Oh, but first we're also going to need to remake that folder we deleted before. From assets, units, and that. Alright, so now first step is to replace their names. There is one unpleasant thing about this now. So if you noticed inside the ship here, when it comes to these data tables, under the row, when you actually pick a row, it's only going to list the rows that actually exist in the source while you're changing things in the editor. So you will actually have to update at least the rows into the source. But there is an annoying, but there's the annoying way of doing it one by one, like as you're making changes, or you can basically make a bunch of rows ahead of time, which we'll do here for the sake of this one. So the one that we already changed, so you see it's filled with all these rows. I'm just going to leave the old ones there for reference, so you can copy the one that we're dealing with now. Oops, twice. And I'm going to just make it clear that this one is the one that's actually our video. Now, if you know ahead of time approximately how many ships, to avoid doing this, making these new lines over and over and over again, and constantly moving, copying these files back and forth when you as you add a new line, just duplicate our base ships here. So fighter, don't forget two, because technically that's the ship of the line in that class. Destroyer, battle cruiser, carrier, and we already have a ship. So now I'm going to change these ones' names to also have video in them. And I'm going to remove the underscore 0 because I just don't like it. Okay. So the key is that now you can see which ones are actually yours, just because you added the video name to it. But knowing what ships you're going to have in advance is where this is going to help. Essentially, you're just going to want to duplicate the nearest type for as many slots as you think you'll need. In fact, you can just make more, just in case. You can just make, I don't know, like 10 of each. And then that way, you won't have to change it. You'll just have to remember which number yours is assigned to. So if I say duplicate the fighter a bunch of times, see there's 10 of them now. You see there's 0, 1, 2, it counts a little bit, 10. You'll just have to remember which number goes with which of your ships. So that's one way to do it. If you know the name of every ship and what you're going to name them as, you can pre-name them. But you're just going to want to have these rows already here before you do anything. Alright, now once you have them all ready, once again, we're going to have to copy all these into the source just to use their names. Okay. Now, when we open up our ship here, we can now move these data tables to our new one. So make sure it's the game. Alright, so once you've copied those ones into the source, we can now replace the tables. And I already did this one, game, set it to your game one. You can actually search table, and all the table things will show up, and you just want to get this to video. Video. Like that, and then move it to your new one. And of course, some of them aren't showing their freaking selections. Video, video. Here we go. Video. We could probably put row name in. Ah, yeah, that works. Oh, did I not get inputs? I must have forgotten to add the one to that. Alright. This last one here. There's that. So now those are all filled out. So now this one is using your stats. And now that the rows are added, and particularly the one we added the rows to already. Which was that? Which one did we do that to again? The engine tuning? Yeah. So now if you change the name, you will have to copy this one back over the source to update the names. But otherwise, all these fields you can change here now because this one's gonna override the one in the source. You can see the stats and just the moves. There you go.